want to be the next female Kevin Hart. Not Kevin the comic, Kevin the businessman.
Today, on That One Time, I'm joined by Sofi Ibrahim, aka the Odditty. Sofi is an entrepreneur and content creator who made the bold move from Nigeria to the US alone at the age of 17.
I don't think anything good has happened by following the status quo. Everyone who's done anything in life only has ever succeeded because they moved away from the grain and decided to do something different.
Original thought is kind of scary to a lot of people though.
Just try. Try it. Because you would be doing yourself a disservice if you don't try just because you're terrified of it.
I really want to dig into this mindset around the move.
Okay, that's a story I've told, but never actually this way. It was in Nigeria. I finished high school and I started school for a year in somewhere called University of Ilorin. One day I get invited to this professor's chambers and he basically said the only way for you to survive and pass this school is to...
Wow, that's not what I expected to hear.
With her expertise in digital storytelling and content strategy, Sofi has transformed her personal journey into inspiring content that has led to a following of over 1.2 million. I loved our conversation because it showcases the resilience required to turn dreams into reality, offering insights if you're considering making a leap into the unknown. We also touched on some very deep and vulnerable topics she's never spoken about before. So I think you'll really enjoy this conversation with Sofi Ibrahim, aka the Odditty. If you enjoy this episode, please give us a follow and a rating on Spotify or a like and subscribe on YouTube as we're on a journey to 1,000 subscribers and every little bit helps.
Sofi,
Hello.
welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to... Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I love it. I want to thank you for coming on.
Oh, yay.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
I'm glad we've met. You're a wonderful human. You've got an amazing energy.
I am.
Like, you're very supportive, like super fun,
so
kind,
great.
intelligent. It's
So
really like it's
amazing.
really good to have you, like, in my world because it's
Yeah.
like super fun to
Oh,
be
shucks.
around you and
Keep going.
Stop it, don't stop. Yeah, so you know, you've taught me a lot already, and yeah, enjoy your company, enjoy your friendship. So thank you for being here.
Thanks, Adam. I'm excited to be here. It's been a long time coming. We're about to get into some nitty gritty fun stuff.
Let's do it.
It's gonna be chaotic. It's gonna be loud. I can't wait.
I'm ready. Well, if you could give an elevator pitch of who you are,
Okay.
what you do, and how you contribute to the world,
Okay.
what would that sound like?
Hi, everyone. My name is Sofi, aka the Odditty. I'm a creator, an entrepreneur. I currently actually hold a master's in peace and conflict studies, which I wanted to do some incredible good in the world with my degree. And I ended up just falling in love with social media. And now what I tend to do is share fun adventure experiences in life online for a living while also incorporating what my degree is to create some sort of peace in the world as well. So I like to dabble in activism. I like to dabble in self-love, acceptance, and what it truly means to unapologetically live your life for yourself. That's me.
That was a banger elevator
Thank
pitch. You've done that before, haven't you?
No, I have not.
Really?
I was winging that shit. I
That
was like, damn.
solid.
I was
that
trying
breathing
so-
exercise. Fuck me up.
I was like, damn, I should have read your questions.
Well, it's all right. It's all right. We filmed that, so you can use
I'm
that.
gonna
for
I'm gonna
anything.
steal that for a bio.
So good.
That's solid.
And nice. So the early years like shape us, right?
Yes.
They make us who we are. They affect the way we make decisions and what we end up wanting to do with our lives. So what happened in your early years that would allow anyone listening to you now to understand who you are as a human and how you navigate the world?
Oh, that's such a good question. This is gonna be so. I don't know. I feel like there's so many things about me and where I'm from that sort of like create this persona or person I am. But I think some of the biggest things is that my mom is a single mom. So I was born the last child of 13 siblings.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but it was like step siblings and like
Okay,
my
yeah,
brother, but like my brother was 10 years apart from me.
Yeah.
So I think I grew up knowing I wasn't supposed to be here. You know what I mean? And not that no one loved me. Yeah. Like not that no one loved me, but I grew up understanding that, oh, oops, like she came after this long time. No one was expecting you.
Yeah.
And so I remember incidences where like I would finish with primary school, which is like I think middle school here, and like my mom forgot that I had to register for like high school because it's been 10 years. She was like, oh, why are you still home? I'm like, because I gotta go to school, but school is done, so we need to get me into another school. And it was like a frantic, let's go make sure she can get into another school. So I kind of grew up like trying to seek that attention and wanting that idea of like, I know I'm the last child and I'm a girl, and you know my brother is a boy and he was going to be this doctor, and they had this life together, and I mattered and I was here, and I was just so stubborn and wanting to show people that I existed too. And I think that call for attention has sort of followed me throughout my entire life, like being in school and wanting to, you know, get the best grades so like my mom would be proud of me, or you know, wanting to do things in school for like the attention of like, okay, well, I'm trying so hard for you to see that, okay, you did not know I was supposed to be here, but now I'm here. It was worth your time. And I think that has sort of changed. That's what I think is why I'm the way I am now, I think. I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, you're telling the story. So.
I think so. I feel like I've never been asked that before. And that is like the first thing that comes to my mind, because everything I do now is for my mom. And I think that is what fuels me every day. I imagine young Sophie was the same way, even in school. Like, I have to get these good grades. I have to show her that all the stress and everything she went through was worth it, because I'm going to be something. And like, I'm not going to be this mistake. Yeah. I know that sounds so sad, but I promise I know she loves me. So Mom, if you're listening to this, it's not a knock on like her and anything. I think it was more like a personal thing for me. Yeah. Like there was an uncle who had literally told me when I was like, 8, 9, and it was like, oh yeah, your mom didn't want you. Like,
what do you think that does? Well, what did that do to you?
I think it just pushed me to want to be wanted. You know, it's like the people pleaser in me is definitely high because of that. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to prove and show that I'm supposed to be here because, you know, I'm going to do this and do that. And I think it's reflected even in the job that I do. I want to make people laugh. I want to make people smile. I want to help people in any way, even sometimes at my detriment, which I am working on. I'm trying so hard to be in a better space for myself too. But definitely that's been the driving point for a lot of my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you close with your mom?
I am.
Okay. Where is she?
She's Nigeria. Okay. I'm Nigerian. I live here. And here's New York, by the way. If you're listening to this. Yeah, I'm really close with her. We had a rocky start. I like to say I wasn't as close with her, but I like to say I am her wildest dreams come true, and the wildest dreams especially that she couldn't follow. So I think I'm the version of my mom who didn't listen to anybody else but herself. You know what I mean? And so I think and this is therapy talking, honestly, for her to have seen me do everything she said no to because she couldn't have possibly imagined herself doing those things, I think is also a stark thing for any human to have to face. If you had a daughter who was like, you would say, no, don't do that because I'm terrified of that. And she's like, I'm not terrified, so I'm going to do it anyways. And so we had a rough relationship because she would always try to shield me from stuff. And I was like, no, you raised me to be this now. So I'm going to show you that I can handle anything that's thrown my way. So we had a really rough relationship, but I think it's built me to who I am now because I think she's really, really proud of me, and we had this game where our parents are human too. And I played it with her when she came to visit New York recently.
That sounds like a wild game. It was a
wild
oh my God.
game. Our parents are human too. If y'all ever have like rocky relationship with your parents,
shit, I'm getting this.
You should definitely use that game, because I asked her, I was like, what is one thing about me that you love? And I don't think we ever asked my parents that. And I asked her that, and she was like, that I am who I am. And I never knew that. Like, that would have been like the wildest answer for me, because I thought she was gonna be like, oh, you know, you look like me, or, you know, like, you're so cool. I don't know. But for her to say like she was proud of how stubborn I was, and that was something that was the biggest issue for us, was like reassuring. Like, I know it's all love at the end of the day. So yeah, y'all should definitely play that with your parents.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that for sure. Yeah. So what has there been a story that you've got to share with your mum? Like, have you taken her somewhere? Have you done something with her that she could never have dreamt of?
Not yet to any extent. I say that as like, I think every experience she has now when she comes to visit America is like an experience with me, and everything just is so cool to her. But I know one of the biggest things is I really want to take her on a cruise and just like have us be a mommy-daughter thing. We've never spent in my adult life genuinely more than 2 weeks together. Like, since That's scary.
Well, 2 weeks is a long time though. Like I don't think I've spent 2 weeks with my parents,
right?
And anyone probably, except for my roommates and my girlfriend.
That's terrifying. And I thought about it recently too. It's like, since I turned 17, I haven't spent more than 2 weeks with my mom, like in any space. And so I hope my goal is at some point as we grow older, I try to do that more. Like whether that's like a week-long vacation or at least just having her around long term, just so we can bond, because our parents are growing older, and my mom is also like older mom, like she's turning I think 67 or 60 something this year. So I also like that feeling of like I want to make sure I'm spending enough time with you as like life gets crazy, but I want to make sure that connection is still there because it's special.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I thought about that when I moved here. Like I had this moment of realization where I realized that I could come back to Australia next year and my parents might not be the same or who knows. Yeah. And it like hit me really hard in that moment. So you don't know. And I guess it's up to us to try our best to reach out and do the things we can for those people in our lives. Because I feel like they just go on autopilot and they live their lives, and it's kind of like up to us to make.
It really is, because they've lived all their lives. Like for them, it's like now they're coasting, right? Yeah. That's the idea. So I'm like, even if you're coasting now, how can I make you enjoy what this is? You've worked so hard to get me to where I am now. It's my turn to make sure you are living your best life. So. One day, one step at a time. Truly, I'm excited for that.
I mean, I'm sure you could pitch to like a cruise, like what do you call it, cruise company to do that.
No, yeah,
that would be a banger.
Like my mom on a cruise.
That would be so fun.
I just feel like it would be so chaotic in the best way. Just even like vacation.
Vlogging that.
I don't think she's been on vacation. You know what I mean? Like I want to take her to like an island somewhere and just have her like get massages,
Roosevelt
and chill.
Island.
You know, like let's get it just right around the corner. We're gonna see though. I'm excited.
Yeah. So it sounds like you have said yes to a lot of things in your time.
Yes. Ish. Explain.
So, you were stubborn and you like pushed in directions that maybe weren't natural directions that most people should go. So how has that been a positive and how has that backfired for you?
This might sound like the cockiest thing, but it has backfired. And I think that's what was so frustrating for anyone in my life who knew me. Was so like they would tell you, once Sophie's mind is set on something, she's going to do it. And I think that's like also like, I don't know if you're into zodiac signs. I know nothing, by the way, if you're listening to this, but I know like my 3-star placements. I'm a Leo, a Cancer sun, and a Pisces moon, I think.
What does that mean?
I have no idea. But I know that's important. But I bring that up only because when I'm explaining to friends who are into that, they always bring that placement up.
That makes so much sense.
Yes,
now.
That's exactly what they say. Yeah. Like, you have this. So I am always prepared for anything, right? So if I'm like, I really want to start an Instagram, and everyone around me is like, no, that's rubbish, or you're good, blah, blah, blah. In my head, before I even brought up the situation to you, I have thought about every single contingency there was. So if that decision was already being made, I wasn't asking for permission. I was just telling. And I think, imagine like a 9-year-old Sophie going, this is exactly what I'm doing. And everyone's looking at you like, huh? Like, how do you know that? I'm like, I just know. Like,
Did you start your Instagram at 9?
No. Honestly, I wish I did, because I know I honestly listened to too many people before I started. Like so many people told me not to start. I had an ex at the time who would tell me like that was embarrassing. And if I started social media, they would not be with me. And I was like, okay. Like, look at me now, look at him. His current wife is looking at me on the screen, so.
Damn,
throw that shade. But it's like stuff like that even then I look at myself now, I'm like, this is why I don't listen to people, because I'm going to do what I want because I'm prepared for it. And even if I stumble or I fall or there's a mistake, I can learn from it and get up. I would never know if I didn't try. So a lot of my yeses were always me telling myself I had to try. I think the way I grew up in Nigeria, an immigrant who came into a whole new country.
When did you come here?
I came here when I was 17, so in 2014.
By yourself?
By myself. Damn. Just me on that big flight, freaking out, didn't have no idea what I was doing. I came here on like my mom's last dime, and there was no plan on how to continue on with college. We were just gonna wing it and figure it out. And that's a whole story for another day.
Or today.
You're like, let's get into it. But the way I'm raised, the way a lot of women are raised, it's exactly that. Like, it's oftentimes around shame. So you can't do this, you can't do that. You're supposed to be a certain way, do a certain thing.
Yeah.
And one thing about Sofi was I always wondered why. I would always push back. Why did I have to let the boy go first when I wanted to go first? Why was it that he got to do this and I didn't? Or why was...
Is that a Nigerian thing?
I think it's a culture thing. Okay. I like to say culture is big. Like, I think, like, as a woman right now, I'm 27. The idea is like, you know, where's my husband, right? And I'm not getting married soon. It's never like career. Of course, things are hopefully changing, but that's the general rhetoric around like when you're growing up, like what the idea is, what are you wearing? What are you doing? I'm also Muslim. So like that also idea of like, okay, are you covered up? Are you modest? Are you attracting the wrong attention?
Well,
There were so many restrictions on how I could live my life that I didn't understand. Yeah. And rather than just listen and just be like, okay, well, this is what they said to do, so do it. I always went around that with like, tell me why. Yeah. Explain that to me. And then let me make my decision. And oftentimes it always just came down to like belief or status quo. And it's like, I don't think anything good has happened by following the status quo. I think everyone who's done anything in life only has ever succeeded because they moved away from the grain and decided to do something different, because that's what it should be. That's what human nature is. Like, we should all be asking these questions. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, original thought is kind of scary to a lot of people, though.
Terrifying. But where would the world be without an original thought?
It would probably not exist.
Exactly.
We would be extinct.
Exactly. So
yeah, it's a strange one to balance kind of tradition with trying new things and exploring and growing, because the Mavericks change the world. They do. But the Mavericks are generally hated on during their time of being Mavericks, so it's ironic.
I'm telling you, it's so, I think about it from like my haircut now. If you're on video watching this, I'm bald, but by choice, right? And I remember when I first cut my hair, oh my God, the words, the thought processes, the comments. You look ugly, you look like a man, you're too masculine, you look terrible, don't do it, blah, 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 blah. And I remember going, if they're saying I look bad, I must look great. If they're saying this does not look good on me, something's wrong with them. It can't possibly be me. I am not the problem here.
Is this Delulu? Is this?
Yes. I was so sure I was the perfect specimen for it, and everyone else was the problem. And so now I cut my hair in 2018, and to now see people being like, oh, they can't imagine me with hair, I look so great, this is like my thing. I'm literally speaking at a conference that is called BaldyCon.
Damn, they got conferences for everything now. I'm clearly not the target audience.
No, like folks with hair are not allowed.
Yeah. But I imagine you just get these desk stares like,
oh, it would be interesting. I'm so excited for this.
Can I come with you?
Just to see it. Just to see a lot of bald heads in the sea of folks.
And I'm tall too, so I'm just
like looking around. Imagine me lost in the sea of bald folks. It would be hilarious. I can't. Where's Waldo for real?
Yeah, literally.
That's a content idea. I'm taking that. I'm going to absolutely.
You're just looking for me around the city.
But yeah, so even like that, seeing that now, so people are always just gonna question what they don't know. It's change is frightening. I just like learn to always just go past that.
So, I really want to dig into this mindset around the move, because that sounded wild. So you're 17.
Okay, that's a story I've told, but never actually this way. And this might just be the first time let's see. Okay, I'm just gonna say. Okay, so I was in Nigeria. I finished high school and I started school for a year in somewhere called University of Ilorin in Kwara State. And that Kwara State is in Nigeria. And before that, I actually won a scholarship by a musician who was from my high school, who gave this to like the most well-rounded students, so academic and social.
Wasn't music. It was
just like if you're vibes. The most social and more academic person, like a blend of both. And so it was like about ₦1 million then. What's I forget. That might have been like ₦1 million in $1 million in US dollars in 2014. How much would that have been?
$600.
$600 is crazy.
Or like $500.
What? That is insane.
In 2014. I don't know. Anyway, let's go with $500.
Okay, $500 is scary, y'all. We should discuss that. We should unpack that later. That can't be right. If that is, I have a lot to say about that.
Yeah, damn.
Because like
$600. It's coming up with $600.
Really?
Yeah.
How much is? Okay, we will discuss this after because we got to figure out the exchange rate. Because like,
oh no, the exchange rate's
crazy.
gone to shit.
It's gone to shit.
Right.
Okay, y'all, it's terrible.
Never mind.
Yeah.
No, it's way more than that.
I'm like, it's terrible now.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, so I got that money, right? So that was like in my mom's account. And then fast forward to me getting into the school in Quara, I was enjoying living my best life, and I got the attention of a particular professor who deemed it upon himself to invite me into his office.
$6,000.
There we go.
So it's gone down 90%.
Yes, it's really bad.
Oh shit.
The exchange rate is terrible.
Okay.
But so I was currently attending this university, and I was doing so well as a 100 level law student because I was going to be a lawyer. And one day I get invited to this professor's chambers, is what they called it, which is like their office. And mind you, then I was Muslim, and I am still Muslim, but I was covering my hair. I had like the long black skirt and white top that we typically had to wear in school. And he basically said the only way for you to survive and pass this school is to sleep with me. And you're not allowed to, you're going to be in my chambers off campus every Tuesday and Thursday. I'll never forget. Every Tuesday and Thursday, you're going to be coming. And if you don't do that, you're going to get in trouble and you're going to fail out of school. And I remember looking at him going, I think I was like 15. Like this was like 2013.
Oh shit.
I was like, yeah. So I was looking at him. I was like, sorry, I just want you to understand I'm a child. Like this is scary. For like, I don't how. And it was just like an honest, this is what's happening. Deal with it. You've been chosen. And I remember talking to a bunch of my colleagues then, like, is this normal?
You're like 15-year-old colleague?
Yeah, like we're all in school together, right? So I'm like, you guys heard about the like, yeah, like sometimes professors will like pick certain girls out.
And this is just like known and accepted?
Yeah, like you
That's
just have to sleep with a professor to get your grade. So no matter how smart you are, the moment they say, if you don't listen, they're either going to R-word you, they're going to assault you, they're going to make your life a living hell.
What do you say, R-word?
Like R-word, like rape you.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Terrifying. And there are girls who just accept it, like the smartest girls in the world who just have to accept it because they know their only choice of survival in school is to just pass through school and go on. And for me, I was like, no, that's not happening. I'm not doing it. And it just went on for a while where I was threatened a lot to honestly leave, and I was eventually assaulted by the professor. It's okay. It's not okay, but for me, it was like, yeah.
A lot of it, okay.
And it was just a lot of that was happening at the time, even with another student who was at that point a 400 level student, so like 4 years my senior as well. So it was a lot of like attention on me for the wrong reasons. And again, for me then, I was modest. I was like covered up, but I remember then they would always remind me that they noticed me, right? It was always this idea of like, well, it kind of is your fault because like you decided to, be the spokesperson for your class or always be walking around and doing this, always be doing that. And this is your fault. You're the one bringing all this attention to yourself. And I remember like calling my brother at the time, crying my eyes out when everything was happening and just being like, I have to leave. And we were just like, okay, we're going to take this money from your mom's bank account and we're going to apply to schools in America because I had an uncle who lived in America.
Where did your uncle live?
In Maryland at the time. Okay. And we're just going to... Huh?
What state's that?
Say that again?
Ohio? No,
Maryland.
Oh, that's the
DMV.
state.
Yeah,
okay,
state.
Sorry,
state.
I'm still
you're fine. I was like, but Maryland, the state. And that happened. And we just ended up writing the SATs and the IELTS, writing those exams and coming here. And the plan was if I got here, I would figure it out, try to apply for scholarships. So like we could afford for me to continue school here. And honestly, there's so much that I know I've like repressed and just not wanted to remember. Yeah, but I remember then like there was a lot of stuff that I didn't tell my mom. You know what I mean?
What?
Like,
so you didn't tell your mom at all?
No, like
I'm
I didn't.
She knows
like
now.
She knows. I don't know if she does.
Oh shit.
I don't know if she does to this extent. I think she knew how much I wanted to leave. I don't think.
Not why.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in my family except my brother knew, and I don't even think I told my brother fully what actually happened to me. I think I was just very much like, I want to go, like I'm leaving now, let's do this. And I think it still feels very surreal for me to have had them listen, but I think they understood that I wouldn't have been that adamant about it now. So I just stole money from her. I was like, let's go. Well, it's kind of my money, so it wasn't stealing, but it was in my head. I was like, we got to do this. We're going to do all these meetings. You're going to leave. And it's funny because I still get comments from folks who used to go to the same school as me then. And they're like, one moment you were in school and the next one we never saw you again.
Did you tell them what?
They kind of know now, like over social media, if I've mentioned it here and there in interviews, but they would be like, they just saw me on Instagram like 3 years later, and they were like, oh, this is the girl who went to school with and who just disappeared, and now she's in America. And I don't think they understood why, and I'm still so grateful that the sequence of events happened that way to where like there was money enough for me to at least leave at that moment in time. So I'm always like, things happen for a reason. I always wanted to come to America too, and there was always some reason why I couldn't, something about family, money, all that stuff, and that finally happened, and then I ended up being able to come here. So the rest is history.
Wow, that's not what I expected to hear. Okay, well, thank you for sharing.
Of course. That's well, not smiling, but
no, I understand. I mean, we all have our ways of responding coping, to things. Yeah, I get that fully. So it's an interesting thought around, and this is probably a big reason why you studied what you studied in college as well. Yeah. Like the idea that the thought process was that it's a woman's fault for trying to do better for themselves. Yeah. That is fucked.
Yeah. Like, it's unfortunate. And I think one of the biggest reasons for me starting my content and like choosing the name The Odditty was, even growing up, anything I was doing was seen as like wrong, right? Like, and just existing, like the ability to choose to explore, to experience, to be who you are was frowned upon because you're a woman in like the strangest way. Like, how dare you question what is already the norm? But every guy could sort of get away with it. And I didn't even know I was sort of like rebelling against, you know, whatever the status quo was. I just was being stubborn. Like I was known as a stubborn child. Like that was like my thing. Like siblings, cousins, everyone would be like, Sophie's so stubborn. She doesn't listen. I'm like, why should I? Give me a good reason why. And I think when I started my content too, my idea was like, I hope there's that young girl who is just like me, who might not be just like me, who just has always questioned certain things. Yeah. I hope she knows that she can question, like she can ask. You might end up getting to the same answer, and then you at least feel sure in the stance or in the thing you're doing. Yeah. But at least you know you have the choice, right? The biggest thing for me is choice in like the life we live. Like I don't want to be told this is exactly how my life needs to go, right? I want to be able to experience my life for myself and then create that trajectory for me.
Yeah, choose your own adventure.
Yeah, I do. I feel like...
I mean, definitely you have.
Yeah, I think so too. I feel like my entire life now is an adventure, but I am grateful that I'm able to live this way. I don't think it ever came easy. And I hope whoever is listening to this, if there's any relation to me in any way, like you feel like you're connected in some way, then I hope you know too that you can choose your own adventure. I think especially for women out there, like especially immigrants, Black women, African women, you're allowed to experience life. You're allowed to make mistakes. You're allowed to have an adventure. You're allowed to do things that scare you, that terrify you, that people are saying no to, simply because you're interested in it. And it's okay if you stumble. It's okay if you fall, as long as you're doing it and you're doing it to make yourself happy. Go ahead. Yeah.
When you made that move, how was the actual immigration process?
Fucking sucked.
Yeah, what happened?
Honestly, it wasn't hard. It sucked in terms of like leaving family, but I just came on an F1 visa. Yeah,
that's student visa.
Yes. So I came on an F1 visa. So it was like literally just applied to schools. I went to some random bumfuck school in West Virginia. I love Concord University. Shout out to Concord University, Athens, West Virginia. My bad, y'all. But we had like, this is an exaggeration and I don't remember how far, but that's how much I hated it. But we had like we would be like, oh my God, I want to go to a restaurant, and it would take you to the McDonald's 30 minutes away. Like that, this was in the middle of nowhere, and the campus is...
This ain't West Virginia anymore. We ain't in West Virginia now.
Damn. It was, I was like, is this the America y'all told me? This is not what Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Anna Montana said. Okay, Disney has lied to me. Like, I don't know what this is, but this is not it. So I was in West Virginia for a year, and then I just transferred to Louisiana, and then I've transferred to different places, and I live in New York. So, yeah.
So, I mean, if you could go back to your younger self and tell your younger self anything, what would you tell her?
be as stubborn as you want.
Yeah.
Like there's so many times I wanted to say no. I wanted to keep at it, be stubborn. And I would stop, or I'll be like, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I shouldn't. And I'll cower against this fear of what people might think. I wish I had more balls. And like, and not physically. I
think you can do that now.
Yeah, I'm like, I think I could get some balls now. But I wish I had the balls to make my dreams happen quicker. I remember I wanted to come to America way earlier. Like there were so many times where the opportunity was there to like come here for high school or do this or do that. And like my mom would say no, or they'll be like, we can't do it. Or there'll be some fear around it. And I just let things happen. I never pushed for it. And I know everything happens for a reason. I'm so glad it happened the way it did. But I always wondered what would happen if my dreams just started sooner. Like if everything started 5 more years before it actually did. But I'm grateful. The experiences that made me are like what happened anyways.
Yeah, I mean that's a hard one to really think about because you don't know if like okay, well I guess the correlate. Would you say you're happy with who you are and where you are right now? Absolutely.
Oh my God.
You wouldn't be who you are.
I would
and where
not.
you are. You could have been hit by a bus 10 years ago. Who knows? No one knows. So if you're happy with it, it's like I guess it's not a useful thought process, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think so. I think I'm happy, I'm content, I am grateful. I really am. Everything that has happened to me in my life was meant to happen to me in the way it did, because I think every little brick has made me who I am now, for sure. Yeah.
So just for some context, like, we talked about my dad being Egyptian. So like I've grown up in a partially Christian, partially Catholic, partially Muslim household.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, that my parents got divorced because of that clash between the like Muslim side and the Christian side.
I can imagine that.
Yeah, but it's so I've got my toe. I'm like as I said before on air, I'm a mutt. I'm literally a mutt.
Adam, you're a mix.
I'm a mutt.
I was like, no, you're a mix. You're a mix of two very fun, intense cultures.
Literally.
That can be insane.
It's good. I mean, it's good because I can like jump into any of the situations now.
Yeah. I think that's why you're so eloquent. I think you're able to like converse in that way. Not the hair flip. No, but it's true though. I think that's what makes you in that regard. Because I like to tell people to experience different cultures is to be learned, and to be have that experience is so powerful. Yeah, it will help you like in any way, especially like Catholicism and Islam. They're very, very strict, very regimented, very belief oriented. And those are like two of like very staunch religions to be in battle with. So I respect you for that. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm chilling. But I just like you, all of my experiences have led me to this point, and I feel like I like where I'm at, and I feel like I like how I can navigate the world. So
I feel that.
Just see what's next.
Yay us.
Yeah, us for sure. Well, the reason why I wanted to talk to you about this is you mentioned that you were very, I guess the word might be meek when you were younger.
Yes.
Because of potentially the like religious pressure. Is that a correct?
So I wouldn't say meek. I would say I was
conservative.
Not even. It wasn't even. It was. So this is like a thing anyone who is hiding themselves from their parents would do. Like, I would want to wear a certain outfit, but wear something else and change when I'm not with my mom.
Yeah,
like that.
I think
kind
that's
of
just
like,
a normal,
right?
Like, probably girl experience. Like guys, not so much.
Yeah, so
but
very,
girls for sure.
Very like that. Even with like my words or my experiences, like I would want to be a part of like the choir. Just because I really wanted to sing, and because I know my mom would never go for it. I cannot.
Okay.
But then I
sing
thought,
Mary J. Blige for us.
I thought I was gonna be Beyonce or some shit.
Yeah,
but
I mean, still could.
Stuff like that, I would tell my mom, oh, I was going somewhere else, because I just knew she wouldn't be supportive of like an entertainment thing or like so stuff like that. I was, and then especially being Muslim too, I wasn't allowed to question a lot of things. And so if this person was rude or mean, I would just like let it happen. Yeah. And then just knowing in the back of my mind, like there was a lot of thoughts that I didn't say out loud because I knew it would be taken the wrong way. I might get hit, stuff like that. Not by my mom, by the way.
By like random.
No, by uncles. They were assholes.
Shit. Okay.
If you're watching this, F your CK.
Fuck y'all. Yeah. Yeah. Well, then, you know, what made the change from kind of being covered to uncovered?
America.
Yeah.
And my mom hates that.
Yeah, I mean.
But I honestly, I've always been that way. I was never like a hijabi or someone who was fully like covered. Yeah. But in many ways, like in Nigeria then, especially in Kwara State, it's a very like heavily like Islamic school, so that was the norm then. But even before then, I never like wore the hijab in like high school or primary school or high school. It wasn't a thing. Yeah. But I think when I was here, the fact that I was in America alone, especially as I moved away from my uncle, that allowed me to just ask myself questions that mattered. So why am I doing this? Why do I want to do this? Am I comfortable doing this? Is the reason why I'm doing this because of what it's supposed to be, or because of what people are telling me? And I think for me, especially my personal style, personal growth, like the things I wanted to do, like I was supposed to be a lawyer and I decided to go and get a master's in peace and conflict. That to me was like, why did I even want to be a lawyer in the first place? I started asking myself these questions because I realized I could dream bigger, because now I had more control and access over my life. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I like to tell a lot of kids growing up that my biggest thing in questioning everything was that I found what controlled me and moved away from it. This might sound so bad, but I'm just going to say it. But a lot of, honestly, like African kids or just kids in general, the biggest reason why you tend to listen to your parents in that sense, and I'm not saying this for like doing terrible things, but like for me, who was like, I wanted to still do academia, but I just wanted to do it a certain way, was like financial reasons, right? So I started making sure like, if I was going to talk the talk, I was going to walk the walk too. So if I'm telling my mom, I don't want to be a lawyer, I don't want to go to school for this, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, I'm going to make sure like she's not having to pay for me to do it. Like I'm going to get that financial freedom, I'm going to get that mental freedom, I'm going to invest in myself and make sure she's never second guessing what I'm doing, right? And I think I poured a lot of work into like getting great grades and all this thing. So even when I gave her that diploma and it wasn't what she really wanted, she was also still happy with me, and I was happy with myself too.
Yeah, I get that as well. For like some history, I went to uni and did a double degree in civil engineering and business.
Yeah.
And I finished it and I hardly used it, but the reason why I did it was because Dad was an engineer, and I was like, well, I guess he'll be proud of me now. Yep. And then I moved into different directions. I went into like events and I started making more money than he was making.
I'm telling you.
Okay.
Creator economy, y'all. The entertainment industry.
And I remember thinking that exact same thing, being like, I wonder if he's proud of me. But then one time at dinner, I was explaining like what I was making and what I was doing, and I was like buying properties and doing a bunch of shit, and he sits there and he's like, how are you affording this? And I'm like, Dad, I made $250,000 last year. He's like,
you're like, I make money now.
Yeah,
that's so interesting, because my mom still does that till today. Like she's coming to my really fancy New York apartment and she's like looking and she's like, you know, we can't take the Uber, that's so expensive. And look at her like, you just got out of a $6,000 apartment. Like Uber is the least of your issues, right? Like we're okay. Like I'm gonna go to the groceries and she's like, oh, we should maybe buy 4 peppers instead of 3 to save money. I'm like, Mommy, I'm fine. I promise my finances are in order. My accountant knows what I'm spending. If I spend too much, there's gonna be an alert coming. We're good. And I think it still takes her so long to be like, oh, like you're not in school. Like I remember I was hired as a host for one of the biggest brands in America.
What brand?
I don't want to say. I was going to name drop because I was going to talk some shit.
Keep going.
But
you don't have to say the brand then. I'd rather you talk some shit.
But I was hired with the brand and I was unfortunately let go abruptly. Like that was like about $11,000 just down the drain every month.
Definitely say what brand.
You know the brand. Anyone who knows me would know the brand. I hosted with them for a while.
Okay.
We'll talk about this after. But it was very abrupt, and I know my mom thought that was my job. And so when I came home and I was like, I don't have a job anymore. She's like, okay, are you going to go back to your nonprofit job? Are you going to have to move back to DC? Are you going to downsize your apartment? I was like, no. I was like, this was nothing. Like this is not bad. Like I'm just telling you information about my life, but I am not struggling in any way. And I think for her, that was her time of like, oh, wait a minute, you are actually in a good spot and like you're earning money and we're okay. I'm like, yes, mommy, I'm not a lawyer, but I promise you I'm in a way better position too. So, and
with more freedom than being a
lawyer. And with no student loans.
Damn, these lawyers work like crazy hours.
Big law, come on now. No, we're not doing that.
I mean, it's not... I'm not here to support that industry. You know, I'm going to talk about like the OnlyFans thing, but I got a funny story. I'm not into it personally.
I could sell my feet. I'm telling you.
No. I've got a story. Not specific to you, but I've got a funny story that I heard around like a creator talking to their mum about it.
OnlyFans?
Yeah. So a friend of mine was like, oh yeah, I was, hanging out with this creator, blah, 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 blah. And they make like a few $100,000 a month, right?
Yeah.
Like crazy money.
Yeah.
And they were like, my friend was telling the story about the creator talking to her mum, and her mum was like, you're never going to get a job now. Like I have to disown, like really hectic shit that you would, potentially expect. Yeah. And then she turns around to her mum and goes, Mum, I made $200,000 last month. And she goes, oh.
That was my mom. She was just like yelling. I was like, Mommy, like I can show you. It's okay. Like let me show you my bank account. Let me explain to you. This is like not even savings. This is what I have just to spend today. I am very okay. She goes, thank God. Okay. Alhamdulillah. She just let me chill. And I'm like, there we go. That's what needs to happen. So
yeah. Okay. Nice. What's your view on the kind of like conservative women coming up in the Muslim culture now that are coming to the US, and how best for them to assimilate? Is it worth assimilation into the US versus like focusing on your own culture? Like how do you juggle that?
I think it's not even assimilation. I think it already honestly all leads to choice. And I think we oftentimes forget that. Like there's so many girls who are Muslim who come to America and still be hijabis and still be exactly who they are because that's their choice. Like they want to do this, let them do this. They, especially because, that's just what they want. And I think we tend to forget that women have choice in this conversation. Now, not every woman has a choice, and that's where the disconnect comes in, right? Like for me, even like shaving my head, my uncle was like, you have to shave your head or you're not welcoming me within my house anymore. I want you to be a hijabi. And I said, no. Right. That for me was also a breaking point of like, you're not going to tell me what to do. That's not what I want to do. Yeah. You're not my God. Like that's not what's happening here. Yeah. So even in conversations like that and situations, I had a choice. And I know especially with, people talk about, conservative women, hijabis, young women in general wanting to wear like short skirts and I'm like, if they like it, then they would. And there's a lot of women who would never in a million years show a shoulder, right? Yeah. Like it's their choice, and I always would respect that. So I always say it's never more assimilation. I think it's just the choice. I think America allows you to have that choice. And sometimes, unfortunately, like of course there are terrible places here where if you have a hijab, they're like heckling you or they're being rude or disrespectful with the climate and stuff. But for the most part, you're able to have that freedom here to make that choice for yourself of whether or not you want to be a certain way or do a certain thing.
Yeah. I think it is quite challenging right now for sure with the way the climate is.
Yeah.
I think it comes from a lot of fear and confusion though. Like as long as people aren't hurting anybody on themselves and just like doing their own thing, I think it'll settle. In any aspect, it'll settle down eventually. But it is hard. And again, like being on all ends of this spectrum, I'm like,
no, it's terrifying.
What do I do here?
It is. I think, it's interesting. I like to say, people get scared of the thing they don't know, right? Yeah. That's humanity.
Which is human nature.
It's human
and you go anywhere in the world, it's either curiosity or fear.
Exactly. And
it's not a default state.
I wish more people were curious and not negative curious, positive curious. Like if I don't know something, I would never assume harm, which might not be a good thing for a lot of things, right? But I would never assume harm first. If anything, my assumption is always from a place of positivity. So like, what is this? How might this help me or not help me? I'm curious about it. I experienced it. I didn't like it. Move on.
What's an example of that?
This might be such a weird example, but I'm going to say like trying crab for the first time or sushi.
I thought you said try and crack. I was like, shit.
No, like crab or sushi is an example. Like
I love that you defaulted to that.
Right? I'm like, let's go to the basic of the basic, right? Because people think about food as like a way of like culture mingling.
Yeah, it's culture.
Right? Food is such a big thing, and I just never understood eating raw fish. Like, it made no sense to me.
Okay.
So I never did it. Like, it just was disgusting.
That makes sense because the fish wouldn't be as fresh. And
yeah,
that is it like
no, it wouldn't
it's
be
harder
like,
to get to?
Yeah, it's like scary. I'm like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
Yeah.
And so I remember like for the longest time in America, like people would like tell me, oh, you should try. I'm like, ew, no.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember one time saying, why? Like, this was so random. A time when I was like, you know what? I've never actually even tried this enough to tell myself I don't like it. And what does that say about me, who's always wanting to try new things? Let me try it. And I actually like it a lot. Like, I love sushi. Like,
Sushi's
that's
great.
like, if anyone's listening to this and you're like, Sophie might be hungry today, get me sushi. I would love, give me some. You know what I mean? And I would have known that if I didn't try it. And so that, I think, has always been, that was one of the biggest ways of saying, oh, interesting. Like, meat and salad, we don't go together. Kale, cabbage, ugh. Okay, I've tried it. It's not my thing. I don't want to eat grass. Okay, I'm not a go. It just doesn't work out for me.
Not going to eat what my food eats.
Exactly. I'm not doing that. But that was also me trying. So that's why even for my YouTube channel, I'm launching a series called the Odditty Tries, where I just try different things.
You're so funny on your like vlogs. I was watching some, just losing it.
I really just be in my own world. But that is an example of what happens in my head. Like, this might be so deep, but it was on TikTok once. There was, I'm just going to say the story. So there was a white child, right? And the child, it was a boy. It was like 6 years old. And he was like tumbling on the glass, jumping around, doing like somersaults and like gymnastics, just going crazy at the airport. And everybody around was so happy. Like, they didn't get annoyed or irritated at the child. They just looked at the child and went, oh, like, look at the child experience life. And on the flip side of that was literally, it went viral, like, I think a day later, it was a black girl, like a black baby, like same thing, playing around the airport, and people like looking at her with disgust, like generally, not even just like the white versus black, but just generally, like, other people just like, you know, get your child, sit down, have decorum, like don't play that, don't do this, right? And I remember even thinking, watching that and going, the amount of level of access to experiences you have in growing up and restriction is so different for people who look like me when you come here, right? So I want to always have that new experience for myself. Like, I want my kids, I want my cousins, I want my goddaughters, I want my friends to feel like they could go through life and have new experiences uninhibited. Like, don't look at what everybody says about you, don't look at shame, don't look at any of these things. Just try it. Try the sushi, try the outfit, try the makeup look, try the run, try the new workout, try the new dating app, try the new anything, because you would be doing yourself a disservice if you don't try just because you're terrified of it. So I think when I move through the world like that, I think that's why the Oddity has done so well for me, is because of that mindset. Like, I would never not try anything.
I mean,
except for
heroin.
Yes. Or crack.
Well, I mean, it's a very challenging thing to process, that the stark components there. Yeah. It reminds me of a conversation. Again, it's like, you know, African black versus like me. I'm a little like, I can go on either side, but my dad is like much more tanned. He's like got a very strong Arab accent, and very well educated. Yeah. Super switched on, started a business in Australia, like ran that business, still runs that business for like 20 something years. And I worked with him for a little bit, and when I started working with him, he would tell me things that, like, I would suggest ideas and he would turn around and say, oh no, that's not possible. Or they'll say no, blah, 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 blah. And then I would pick up the phone and I would talk to people, and 5 to 10 different things that he said couldn't be done, I got done very quickly. And I'm like, and I go to him, what are you talking about? Like, what the hell what are you saying? And he said something to me that like has really stuck. And he said, you and I are very different. You're an Australian. I am not. I've been dealing with this since I came to Australia. Yeah. I'm not not welcome, but I'm also, I don't have the same opportunities that you have. I'm not
cognizant of it. Yeah.
Well, he knows very well.
Yeah.
But then my question to you that follows this is, all of this potential negativity aside, it seems as though the choice to still come to the US is potentially the better choice for your safety and your opportunities. What are your thoughts around that?
Yes, it is. And
so how do you reconcile that?
You can't. That's why we're crazy. That's why you go crazy. You can't. Like,
it's like the lesser of two evils almost.
Genuinely. Like, I like to say, like, I live in New York because it reminds me of Lagos, Nigeria. Genuinely. Okay. Like, I miss home every day. Yeah. I would rather be home. I would rather be with family. I miss the food. I miss the culture. I miss the people.
Nigerian food around?
Not the
Could
same.
we go to a Nigerian place?
No, we're going to a Nigerian place. No, I'm genuinely serious.
Please.
No,
I've never tried.
I'm like, never. We're going to do a video on my channel for that.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm fully in. Let's do that next week.
Okay, no, I'm serious.
Done.
Okay, period. Okay. But yeah, so it's hard. Like, I remember when I first came here, and even like, so you're an international student when I came. That's how I came in.
How's your English?
It's pretty good. We speak English back home, so it's like pretty straightforward. And I remember the stark difference between international students who are interested in even engaging in American culture versus those who don't. Yeah. So there's even a choice here to not engage.
Yeah.
Right? Like, my uncle
was
not...
Is that a good thing, do you think? Or a bad thing?
I think it's a choice.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
for the culture as a whole.
I think it's a choice. Like, my uncle's an example of someone who, like, does not want to go back home. He goes back home, I think maybe once or twice, like, just for like, maybe someone is dead or like something like that. Or like there's a birthday he can't miss. I honestly just think it's death. If not, he's not going back. Yeah. He hates Nigeria. He wants nothing to do with it. He's suffered enough. He's here.
But he's happy with the...
But he's never going to assimilate into American culture.
Okay.
Like, he does not. He just does as much as he can do to enjoy what he gets here, live his life, pour into his children, and that's it, right? That's one way to live. What
do his kids do? Like, his kids a lot more...
He's going to find out when they grow up.
Oh, shit.
And I can't freaking wait, okay? But that's what he's doing, right? So maybe, like, he would be like your dad in this situation, how, like, you decided, like, oh, there's opportunity for me, so now I can assimilate, because, like, that his culture is very different from what his kids' culture would be.
Yeah, sure.
Right? And I think for me, when I came here, I wanted to assimilate.
Yeah.
I also wanted to have the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
And I think my success is the way it is because I remember where I came from.
Yeah.
And I'm also holding on to that.
Yeah.
Like, the Nigerian creator economy is insane.
Yeah, you
like,
were saying.
They're talented. Like, the industries they're growing with what they're given, they do so much with. And just like even the continent as a whole, right? And I think the diaspora is the same way, because you're given so little here and you're making do with what you have. That bridge what happens here, like, we see Afro beats now coming up. We see all these incredible artists.
Afro House as well.
Yeah, Afro House is so good. Oh my god!
But so like white boys playing.
No, but they're killing it. I'm like, I'm out at a restaurant, a fancy restaurant. I hear like Afro House in the back. I'm like, wait a minute. I hear those sounds. So I don't see my people, but like hear my people.
It feels
like, wait a minute. It feels
like
so
at our core what we've been doing.
Yes, we're like, we're fighting our ground. So stuff like that is happening now, and I appreciate it because I think we can lean on that. I like to say, and this, I don't want to get canceled, so we might. Okay, let me just say it anyways. I think about it from like the Asian culture, especially East Asians, right?
Yeah.
When they leave home versus when they're here in America, they do it so well. Like the way they assimilate, but also don't. Like the families are still like very homogeneous, very ready to like put together and band together and be successful. And I want that for all our communities in a way. Like I think that's why America is a melting pot. The idea is like you're melting into the pot and you're mixing around, but you're still able to like get up and go back to where you sort of like are and like manage what that would look like. So that bridge building. So like I want to live here, but also I want to go to Nigeria like 3-4 times a year, and I want to pour back in a way that I can, and vice versa. Yeah.
And kind of understanding the roots.
Yeah.
Because again, you're going back to the first question I asked you. Like one of the first questions I asked you, the childhood and the roots.
Exactly.
The things that shape you.
Yeah.
And I guess you kind of want to pay homage to that in some way.
All the time. I think I have to. That's who I am at the core of me. Yeah. So moving on to like another component, you talk about self-confidence and self-love and self-acceptance. So, and it sounds like you've had to navigate that in a very challenging number of ways over the years. So what would you say to someone who is struggling with those components and how they can navigate those challenges and kind of come out the other side? Such a good question, and I've gotten this a bit because of the content I do, and I think one thing that I always stick to is the idea of only one you. Like the idea that like this is your one try.
Yeah.
Like you were giving this and that's it for what we all know about life, right? So if I was to realize that, like this is the full identity for me for the rest of my life, why not show myself as much love as I can? Because I only get this chance to, right? Why criticize, why break down, why do all these things to myself if the world is already even doing it for me? So I think that for me is what changed the game. Like when I said about the haircut, I'm telling you, you could have told me, you could have said I look like the bottom of your shoe and I would have been like, period. You're a hater. What? Stop it.
Did someone say that you like the bottom?
No, thankfully not.
That's a crazy insult.
I don't know why I went there.
I'm like, is
that what I think in my thoughts?
That's a creative one. Goddamn.
But like that is what I think self-love has to be, right? Like no matter what, choosing to be the best version of yourself. So what I look like, how I act, how I behave, leads to the idea of like, if I only have today to show myself love, how would I do that every day?
So how do you do that at the moment?
I pour into myself a lot. And I think it's taken me, I'm 27. So please, if you're older than this, then I have a lot to learn still.
I'm 32.
See, look at, we don't know shit. But like, I think from now, what has helped me get to 27, and I know what's going to help me on along the way, is understanding when I need to be selfish. And
so what's an example of that?
Let's see. I can say friendships, right? And like giving boundaries, setting personal boundaries, what I can take and what I can't take. How am I going to show up for my friends when I'm not 100%? How am I going to be like, I can't do this? Saying no a lot of the times. Even like hygiene and personal care, like running has been huge for me. Like I remember when I first started running, that was like 2 years ago, 2 years ago. And a friend of mine introduced me to running. Me and him went on a run. I stopped after a minute because I was like, this is crazy. Why am I running? Who am I chasing? No. And he just kept going. I looked at him and I was like, you're crazy. Like, there's no way. But I remember also feeling so disappointed in myself and realizing, oh, my body didn't feel good if I couldn't do this thing that was supposed to be active. And if I was 25 then I was feeling this way, what would I look like at 35 if my body wasn't at its best? So now I started running and I started doing Pilates and I started eating right and I started doing all these things and I feel better. You know what I mean? Like thinking about it from that idea has helped me a lot. So I tell my friends this too. I'm like, y'all, you got to start moving. You got to start pouring into yourself. You only have this one chance to be the best version of you because you don't know what happens like after. Yeah.
Just quickly though, I want to talk to you about a taboo but very important topic, sperm health. I bet you didn't think I was going there. One day I want to have kids and like any future parent, I want to give them the best shot at a healthy life. But let's face it, we're at a war every day with our health in this modern world. Chemicals, microplastics, and artificial environments are wreaking havoc on our internal systems at every turn. And if you know me, you know I'm obsessed with health, and the health of my swimmers have been on my mind for a number of years. That's why we've partnered with Legacy, who are changing the game in at-home sperm testing and freezing in the US. Did you know that globally, sperm counts have dropped by 50% in the last 40 years? Let that sink in for one moment. This is not just a fertility problem as well, because low sperm quality has been linked to a high risk of testicular cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and even early death. And on top of that, your sperm quality begins to decline around age 30, and by your 40s, the risk of infertility and having a chance of a child with neurological disorder begins to go up. So testing and freezing now may be the best decision I make for my future family and potentially you too. So Legacy makes it easy. They send a kit straight to your door. You do the business in the comfort of your own home. And in 48 hours, the results are on your phone. Plus, you can freeze your sample at 2 secure locations for peace of mind. So if you're like me and you want to be proactive with your future, as well as support the podcast, head over to givelegacy.com and use the code TOT at checkout for 10% off. That's givelegacy.com using the code TOT for 10% off. Thanks for listening. Now back to the podcast.
Well, let's talk about self-care then. That's a big part of the work that you do. So what is your ideal self-care routine and why? Like from morning to night. Like let's say a lazy day.
I'm going to go down the street in Soho to this massage place that's the best that I found on TikTok that I'm not sharing.
So you do gatekeep.
I'm going to get a $60 massage.
Can you tell me afterwards? Because I need to find a good one.
I'm telling you, she needs your soul. I'm telling you, ooh, we're going to connect. But no, I think I start the day like unplugged for sure, like off my phone. But I would check in with my friends, all that stuff. I'm going to get a massage. Stretch has been huge for me. I'm going to go on a run or any physical activity. I'm going to either do a cold plunge. Crazy. I just started cold plunges.
Cold plunges are great,
and like do a hot hot water bath or something after.
You should come to Othership at some point.
That's someone told me that recently.
Yeah. No, maybe Levi.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So I really want to do that. Yeah. But yeah, I'll do that and I'll just read a book. I tend to, because I'm on social media, it feels like I'm in a parasocial reality 24/7.
That's like a one way.
Yeah, it feels like I'm just looking out for something. And so what I tend to do with books is get lost in something else. And I just get lost in my mind and it lets me relax. So my self-care is literally just reading, working out. Yeah. Lighting some candles, making food that I love. Oh, I would get like a pasta and a steak and just have some red wine and just chill, get an edible, live my best life.
Damn, she eating good.
No, I'm telling you, like I have it down pat. Like when Sophie needs I was just telling my manager this today. I said, I haven't been depressed in a while. And she was like, don't jinx it. I was like,
because you're eating well. You're exercising? You're getting sun, I'm guessing?
I was down bad, Adam, for a really long time. Like I had months where I didn't think I was going to continue living. And this might sound...
Oh, shit.
It was really bad.
When was this?
This was 2 years ago.
Okay.
Like 25 was it for me.
What happened?
Like, I can't tell you.
Really?
I hit my 25th birthday. I remember I cried the morning of my birthday. Everybody was in town to celebrate me. I had a huge party. Like I had Dazzle Gold in DC. Okay. Bedazzled Gold head. I was like at the peak. My career was going well. And I was at my worst mentally. I wasn't moving. I wasn't working out. I didn't know who I was. I think I had a really bad relationship then with my mom still. I lost a bunch of friends at the time. I just was always giving. I had an emergency appendectomy. It was so many things that were happening. And I remember just like not wanting to go on. And I think my manager then, love her to death, kept saying, just take a beat. And I just didn't know. I didn't want to until honestly the emergency appendectomy happened and I had to take a beat. And I remember...
So what's an appendectomy? I don't even know.
It's when you have your appendix rupture.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, and that was like, I was in a random stay. I was in Texas then when it happened. So it was very scary. And I got back and like, I didn't have a lot of friends in DC then who were there for me.
And you realized at that moment when you were fucked up,
I literally
and
was
no one was around.
Looking around and I was like,
who can I call?
If at all, I always want to depend on myself. And I felt so disappointed in myself for even allowing myself then to even travel with the pick. Because I was feeling pain before I traveled, but I just felt, I'll be okay.
Got shit to do.
Yeah. And so that I think changed a lot for me. Like I moved to New York literally the next year. I started afresh. I prioritized me, my health, my well-being, my family, my relationships. I started asking the tough questions about who I wanted to be, how I wanted to be perceived. And I literally created, I call her Young Sophie. I literally just created a young Sophie in my head now. Like, so if I had any decisions or for anything, I'll be like, if I was 13-year-old Sophie, what kind of things would I want for myself? What would I do in this situation? And genuinely like just want to do that for myself, unapologetically, stubborn, all of that. Yeah.
So you tapped into your inner child to heal that period.
I had to. It was tough. I don't, my biggest fear is being alone, right? Like this is literally me doing therapy session right now for myself. My biggest fear that I've said to anyone who'd ever asked me is being alone. Again, I told you from the beginning was my mom had my brother for so long together that I always felt like they were a team and I was just like that anchor by myself trying to figure out where I fit in. And, for me now with friendships and coming to a country with my uncle, who I thought was like a father figure to me, was even like, F-U-C-K, I don't want you in my house either if you're not going to do exactly as I say. For me, it was like, okay, so it's just you again. I remember going to my apartment, sitting there and looking like, if my phone wasn't here and my mom wouldn't call me or something like that, if we're fighting, then like, who did I have? So I think now I'm learning that I would always have myself first. So how can I make sure I'm pouring into myself? I was pouring into better relationships, pouring into this, helping myself with this, and being healthy, wealthy, all of that stuff, and bringing it together. Yeah. Oh my God, this is so, oh my God, Adam.
Are you okay?
Yeah, you're just making me feel like very introspective about, I don't think I've ever like spoken about this online. This is a good episode. I'm gonna like re-listen to this when I need to like get a freaking pick me up. Like shit.
Well, thank you for sharing. We've been talking about it a lot.
Yeah, damn. Okay, shit. Okay. Yeah.
So I'm curious about this hyper independence, but then also being afraid of being alone.
Like my therapist.
Because I'm the same. I'm the exact same. It's fucking wild. It's like
it's crazy.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm learning to put more effort into good relationships, but burn quickly the ones that are not.
Burn.
You know what I mean?
Let
Like fuck them off.
burn.
Just like see you later.
Fuck you. Yes. Oh my god, that's me right
but
now.
in a nice way. It's like
no, not nice. I'm not even saying nice anymore. I'm like go to hell. I'm that way now. Yeah, I say that now, but watch me still be like, hey, what's up,
babe? You look so good.
Like, hey, hi, but no, I
higher
hear
the pitch,
you.
the
Oh my god, higher.
the more you hate them.
For real.
I know. I've seen it. I'm like,
But yeah, no, absolutely. I had an ex who once we had a huge tiff. We ended up working out, and his biggest thing with me was, I would say like, "Oh, you don't know how to take care of me," and he said, "You wouldn't let me," and I was like, "Oh, I couldn't say anything back." I was like, "You're right."
Goddamn.
I don't think I've ever let you, and I had to even go to therapy for that and ask myself why. Like, if someone is offering me care and help, why don't I take it? And at the end of the day, it comes from a level of trust, and also learning that even to get my trust is a gift.
Yeah.
Right. And also to trust other people too is a gift. And like, I'm learning that the relationship I want to make with people, I want them to be able to trust me as much as I trust them. And that doesn't mean I have to have 50 million friends. It means I might just have 2 solid friends that I can trust, or 5 or 20 or 100 if I have that many, but that doesn't seem realistic.
That's
so I just,
enough hours in the day.
So and I just learned to trust my instincts a lot more, and then trust the people I have around me who've seen me through some of the most chaotic shits in my life, right? And I think that's what's helped me balance the hyper independence, but also like that fear of being alone. It's like, okay, excuse me, if I do have these issues, if I'm struggling with this, I know I can let go. And my core friends, they know when Sofi's struggling.
Okay.
They're ready. They're right. Yeah. They're right there in the background. Like, it's time. Okay, let's get this, the dog, let's do this, let's do that, let's get ready. And I think I am so grateful for the community I have now, because I wouldn't be where I am without them.
So how do you cultivate strong relationships now? And what did you not do when you were, I guess, younger and going through that state? I
think I took them for granted earlier. I just
granted?
Like the friends that I did have that were good to me, because I just didn't trust them, right? And I think what I started doing was actually starting to care, honestly, transparently. I genuinely am being very honest now. I moved through life thinking everybody was gonna hurt me if I wasn't the best of the best for them.
And that came from when you were a child.
Yeah, from a child growing. So like, if this person is my friend, then I remember one of my best friends, Ruth, hi baby. I know she's listening to this because I love her so much. When I was in college, that's when we met. And I remember she wanted me to do her hair because I used to braid hair for money in school. And I had an exam, I had an e-note, and I think I was running somewhere. But I really wanted to be her friend. So I was going to say, F the exam, F all these things. I'm going to braid her hair so she's not mad at me. And then she doesn't be my friend anymore. And I remember doing that, and she could tell something was off. She was like, Sophie, what are you doing? Like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, just can I please like do this exam really quick and do this? And she looks at me, she's like, are you crazy? She's like, are you actually insane, girl? Like, get off my head. Go do
your half ahead for the next week.
Go do your thing and let me know when you are available.
Yeah.
And she was one of the first people who made me feel like I could stand alone, and she would be right there when I was back. Like, and so it was so special to me, and that's why I love her so much, and she's always going to be there for me, and I know it the same way, vice versa. And I had to learn that there will be people who would take advantage, right? There are people who would see that fear of loneliness and want to make sure like they're in my life and inserting it for their like ill intentions, but also there are people who are willing and able to help, and that's where discernment comes in, that's where trust comes in. And especially with social media, it can get a bit stressful, who's there for the wrong reasons, blah blah. But I'm learning to again trust my gut and trust myself, and it's been working out well so far.
It's good. So really just tapping into your gut is a core thing, and then like you figured a lot of stuff out. The inner child thing is really interesting. I've heard that a bunch of times. Yeah. Like, what would little version of me be proud of? Or like I've had a couple of moments where you know, in the last couple of years, it's been quite tumultuous as well. And, you know, moving in directions that I wasn't planning on, and you know, finances went like this and then this, and it's just been all over the place. But I took a moment a little while ago, and I thought to myself, fuck, if I told 18-year-old me what I'm doing right now, who I'm dating, like where I am, like what I've experienced, he'd be like, are you fucking crazy? Like, what?
Huh? Yeah.
So sometimes it's worth just taking that moment and going like, I'm here to make the child inside of me proud. Yeah.
And also like, it's so interesting how with me, I'm a writer. So I write a lot.
Yeah. You started blogging. That's how you started, right? You blog.
I blog. So the amount of notebooks I had in the past where it was like, Sofi going, you want to make people laugh, or you want to do this, you want to do that, you want to cut your hair. And I would literally just have like paper and stickers everywhere. And so I tend to also just go back. Like if I'm ever feeling lost, I have this notebook that I did, I think I was in 2017 when I first started the Odditty, and it was like name of Instagram, THE Odditty, weird, add a T. And that became my Instagram handle. Like, and I have that book still with me. And I'll go in and be like, what are your goals for your Instagram? And I wrote like intentionality, being yourself. So if I'm ever like right here, I'm like, why am I the way I am? I'm like, go back to your notes. What did you want at this point in time? How was that changed? How was that upgraded? And it helps me stay centered. So I'm a huge person on reflection. Like I want to reflect on it, because your past experiences aren't supposed to stay in the past. It's supposed to help you nurture whatever it is you're trying to grow in the future, right? Like they're there as a guide. Like you've learned lessons, you've made mistakes. I don't want to forget those.
They're not a waste.
Yeah, they're not. Like I think
but it's hard to learn from if you keep moving. Exactly. Just like running head first. You need that moment in time.
You need that moment to reflect. Exactly. I'm learning that at least 4 counts in. Like I'm gonna steal that, by the way. I'm gonna do it. Like Adam made us like do it. Yeah, he made us do like a whole breathing exercise for this podcast, and it was like deep. He was like, you're gonna take 4 steps in and 4 breaths out, and you're gonna hold. So I was like, okay, all right. And it was helpful. It really did. It calmed me down enough for the episode, but also I don't even think besides helping with breathing, running, I don't think I've actually stopped to breathe in a minute. So I'm glad I even got to do that today before we started talking.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad I could help.
Thanks, Anna.
I actually got that idea from one of my past guests. So he said before we do the podcast, he's like, we need to do this sync up. And he did this like physical, like we were on camera and we were both like doing these movements and like breathing. And I was like, that was sick. I'm going to do that.
No, I like that. I like that a lot. It was really helpful for real.
Yeah. Good. I noticed when you were breathing though, I think you breathe into your chest. You got to breathe into your stomach.
I literally have someone who helps me with stretching because I'm training for a marathon, and he taught me how to breathe. He told me I could breathe more than my chest, and he was like,
I could hear it.
You could breathe like in your stomach and like your hips and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know how to do that. So we're practicing. I'm still sucking at it. It's like
it's not that deep.
I know. I'm serious. It is for me.
Let's practice one more time. Okay. So basically, all I want you to do is breathe to the point like you're not breathing here. Okay. You are trying to just like imagine pushing the breath to like your groin, just like as hard as you can. So we're going. And bringing your stomach needs to cut. You need to have like a pregnant belly.
Right, that's what he says too.
Literally. Okay, so do it. So like breathe in, like all the way down as far as you can go, and go. Keep going, and then can you suck in more breath and push it down? So go again. In your mouth.
See? Okay, wait.
I'm like, down, and then hold it for a sec, and then suck in again, but push it down like. Can you feel that? Is that working? Mm-hmm. Is it uncomfortable? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh.
Does that feel different?
Yeah. Hold on a second. Oh, wait. It felt like it was air. Okay.
So you push, not up, down. Like I can see you going like this. So you're pushing into your stomach. Like I want to see your hands your hands come out when you're breathing in. So force your hands out when so like.
How are you doing that? We're going to practice this after. Oh my God. See, I've been practicing breathing. It's terrible. Also because yes, we're going to do that.
Continue. What were you going to say?
I forgot.
So in case, I don't know, I read somewhere that like 2/3 of the oxygen intake comes from the lower third of your lungs. Oh. And you get access to the lower third of your lungs through the downwards breath.
I'm gonna actually have to focus more on that because you know you're like the second person who's brought that up, and I'm like, okay, now I got to learn how to breathe. Now I got to conquer something else.
Isn't that weird that you don't know how to breathe? Like,
I know.
You've been breathing for 27 years of your life and you can't even breathe. Do better.
How dare I not breathe?
Well, that's not just for you. Like, you're not the first or the last person that'll be like, I don't know how to do this.
Yeah. Also, it doesn't help with running. I realized too, like I definitely need to work on my breathing because then I lose my breath so quickly. So I will double down on that.
We can try again after. I'll try again with you. You mentioned you were writing, right?
Writing, yes.
Writing. So not writing. I don't know.
I was like, wait a minute. I was like,
that's
I
just
did
my
take a
Australian
bite, but
accent. My bad. So I'm really interested in like writing, and I think it's a really powerful tool to communicate ideas, and I'm slowly improving on it. And I was wondering what techniques do you have for somebody who wants to be a better writer?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I don't.
How did you become a better writer?
I don't think I'm a great writer.
Well,
I think
what makes you say that?
Because I don't think I write for people's consumption. I think I write for mine. So I don't know if I don't think anyone has ever criticized my writing in that way yet. I think maybe that might shift if I'm ever like, I want to write a book, which is might be coming soon, 2027. But I think I write more for myself. So I journal a lot. So I tend to write like diary entries for like my life and my opportunities and what's made me where I am today for me to read to myself. So if anything, I think vulnerability and honesty might be how I write and why I do the way I do my writing, I guess. So I wouldn't say I'm a good writer. I would just say I write for me. So I don't know if that's good or not.
It's whatever it needs to be.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You were consistent on it though, right? When you started.
I am. Yes, I'm very consistent on it. I think it helps. I started out really choppy and now I think my words just flow and it just goes crazy. But yeah, definitely is just honesty and like writing without stopping is something I learned too.
Yeah.
I tended to be very like, I want to make sure my sentences is perfect and and I was just like, just write, just word vomit into the page, let everything in your mind.
Handwritten journal or you're typing?
Or handwritten. I can't do typing. Okay. I'm a terrible typer. I didn't have laptops growing up.
Look at those nails.
Yeah, I'm click clack. I'm like, this not good. I'm a writer and like I get hand cramps. I have to have a little like hand sleeve to help me with my hands so they don't cramp. I'm like I have my glasses on because I can't see. I'm blind. I look like a grandma writing. It's honestly, it's not cute.
That's
it's
so
not cute
funny.
at all. Yeah.
I'm like a 40-year-old receptionist with my writing. Like, I'm crazy good.
I can see you just
I'm
going
like
crazy
120
at it.
words a minute.
You be on
like,
that laptop though.
Like eyes closed, no mistake. It's fucking wild.
Yeah, I know.
So if I ever need to be a receptionist,
yes, I'll let you know.
Hire me. Podcasting's tough.
Dude, we got to discuss that because podcasting,
you'll be
man.
fine. You'll be fine. You got a big audience. You'll
terrified.
You'll be fine. You crush it.
Terrified.
I'm coming from like, I'm trying to build the audience and do the podcast.
And you're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
You know, I will. Yes. But you're doing a fantastic job.
Yeah. No, I'm here to help. I'm here to help. We've done like 75 episodes now.
What?
So we're getting there weekly.
But see, I also love that you have guests on because I'm not doing guests. So I'm really terrified about that. I'm just like blabbing.
It's harder.
Holy freaking shoot. Okay. I did my first episode. I got to show you a video. I'm going to show him because I want him to see what my set looks like because we've been talking about the set thing. I got distracted by looking at my text. Okay. Oh, my crush hasn't texted me back yet.
Hey, come on, focus.
Oh yeah, wait, shoot. Look at how cute the set is.
Yeah, you said you were going to do so.
And it actually looks really good.
I don't know if anyone can see this, but no one can see it.
No
but basically, it's out on the balcony.
Yeah, like I'm doing like a balcony
shot. Is that your apartment?
Yeah.
God damn.
You got to come visit.
Yeah, I'd love to. Invite me.
Okay, I will.
Cool.
Nice. Invite's always open, by the way. But now I got to like properly be like, hey, come over.
Well, I just sit in the cafe and work all day, every day, unless someone explicitly says, hey, come do this.
I'm going to force you because then I want to pick your brain on like podcasting because I'm doing like a solo one. It's just like different topics. And my first episode, and this is coming out probably I think after what my first podcast episode launches, but I am titling it right now. If this doesn't come out then y'all know I chickened out. But I want to say this now and then see if I chicken out or not. I think I'm gay. And I know
that'll pop.
Yeah. So I am terrified. I was blabbing. I don't think I said exactly what I needed to say. I think I was rough with it, and it was messy, and it was weird and uncomfortable. But I think that's exactly what the Oddity is. So it is a very vulnerable podcast, and I think that's an interesting way to kick things off. And it was so hard because when I was done, I think I blacked out. I was like, did I say anything? And they're like, we think you said a lot. And I'm like, fudge. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? They're like, the editors would let us know. I'm like, okay.
Damn.
So yeah, I think I'm terrified, but in a good way.
So the process of doing this will get better. The first episode I did, I listened back to it, I was like,
no, because you're a pro now. Like the intro, you just went in. I was like, wow. I want to be like you when I grow up.
It's fucking terrible, trust me. And even like episode 20 or something, maybe 25.
Yeah.
Someone randomly commented on it
recently
and was like, oh, this is such a great conversation. This should have like 1 million views or something. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. And then I listened back to it and the intro is so bad. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh.
Well, you see how like we're our biggest critics too? Because like that one is like, oh, we're so great. And we're like, oh, that was not the greatest.
I watched it yesterday and I was like,
yeah, that's me. That's me with every content I've ever made. I look back, I'm like, what the fuck were you doing? Like, girl, what is this? But it's also growth. Like we wouldn't be here without those parts of us too.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's the core point when you spoke about becoming a better content creator.
Yeah.
Just doing the reps.
Doing it.
Because now I've had feedback from people who have been on some of the best podcasts in the world and have said, cool, this was a good conversation. You're a good interviewer. Keep doing. And this is not something that just happened. This was.
Yeah, you're really good.
Thank you.
No, I'm not even friend. Not because we're friends or anything,
no
but
cap.
you're really,
That's what the kids say these days.
You're doing, you're really, really good. I like to say like, every time I see it, like when I compare myself to people who like are in the same field as me, what I tend to do is like, if I find someone today who like just blew up, right? Let's think, I don't know if you've seen the trend, like very demure, very mindful.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I was like, oh my God, like it's like a overnight sensation. I'm so jealous. Like I want to get that virality. And I said, girl, and I scrolled all the way down. And Jules has been doing this shit for like 5-6 years.
Oh, really?
Like working.
Oh,
like
really?
different styles of content, presented different ways, like trying different things. And this just hit finally, right? And so I'm like, nothing is already there. Like everyone is figuring it out. You might meet them at a certain point and then go back to see, oh, where did they start? But honestly, most people don't go back. I'm going back because I'm a creator and I'm trying to study. But a lot of people who might meet me now, unless they're like really curious about me, they wouldn't go back. They just keep watching my trajectory. And if they do go back, they see it from like a rose colored sort of glasses lens. Like, oh my God, I love her.
Wow.
Like look at her killing it now. Yay. Yeah. And I think when I started thinking about it from that perspective, it lets me make more mistakes. Like I have 400,000 followers on Instagram and I'm like, okay, I have a huge audience. Wouldn't it be embarrassing if I start a podcast and it has like 10 views? Like, oh my God, that means I failed. And I'm like, actually, I've never done a podcast before. So I'm starting from scratch. So no matter what, I'm still building a whole new audience because what if those 400,000 people don't give a fudge about podcasts? Maybe they don't like it.
You'll find people who do care about podcasts.
Exactly. So I was like, okay, so I can't think about this as me having to start straight out of the gate, banging, amazing, this and that. Why not start exactly as I am now? Because I'm curious to see next year how much it's developed into what I hope it would be and have that be my baby again. So I even thinking like that for anyone starting afresh. Like you see folks who are actors who want to get into social media, or you see folks who are in social media who want to get into acting and they're like, oh, they want to be perfect. I'm like, no one cares about perfection. They just want you to see, they want you to try again. I feel like if you're listening to this episode, the key word here is just trying. Just like trying, give it your all, keep trying. Yeah.
But it needs to come from like, you will give up if you don't have a good reason why you're trying. Like I know why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And the reason is because I want to like improve the thinking and ideas and conversations in my world.
Yeah. I love that.
That's the core of it.
That's a great why.
So like when there's if there's like 20 people listening to this and you know some episodes, maybe an episode only gets 50 listens, who knows? Like, and I'll get a text from one of those 50 listeners being like, wow, that was amazing. Thank you for doing that. I learned X, Y, Z. That is crazy. That is crazy.
50 people in the room is insane.
You know, true.
I I think numbers have been so warped with social media, and I don't want to sound like, oh, you know, you already have a following, maybe that's why you're saying that. No, like I remember I started 2017 and I hit 10,000 followers on Instagram in 2020. So it took me about 3 years to hit 10K. And I remember I was hella consistent. I was like doing this was my job. I hit 10K, I was dancing. Oh my goodness. Sophie was happy. I went viral off of the dancing video of me being like 10,000, because 10,000 for me was like, I could get the swipe up link.
Oh yeah, the damn swipe up link.
Yeah. I was like, I got the swipe up link, I'm set. I never thought past 10K.
Yeah.
Like the entire time of my social media career was never always going to hit 100K or 50K. No. I just wanted the swipe up.
I just wanted the swipe up. And then they changed it and you're like, I don't even need it anymore.
And I'm like, God dang it, y'all. Now the goalpost has moved.
Yeah.
But the whole point with swipe up for me was like, okay, I could take people to my blog. I could take people to the next thing and the next thing. And so even now with the numbers, I'm like, okay, how can I continue to show that why in different ways? F the numbers. And I think there's a saying about you only need 1,000 people in a room to give yourself
1,000 true friends. Yeah.
And that's all I need. And I'm always going to repeat that to myself. Like if I'm working really hard, I just honestly just need one young Sophie, like one person who's gonna, and I see that a lot in my YouTube comments when I'm like, oh my God, I'm this young girl living in, Nigeria who watches your stuff and I know I can dream big. Or I have this 65-year-old woman who comments on every YouTube video I make. And Messina is always just there in the comments. And she's like, I wish I thought like you when I was growing up. And for me too, I see that and I'm like, okay, I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
Because there are people of different age variations who are watching me live my life now and I can take something from it. And that's all that matters to me. So my why is exactly that. Like everything I create, everything I do is because I know there's someone out there who might be terrified, might be thinking of it. And I would hope they would see me, maybe even stumble, maybe fall, but they would see me try and they would think they could try too. Yeah.
Do you think that independence gave you the opportunity to try more and more and more
absolutely.
In this world?
Absolutely. But I also think I would have fought for my independence. It might have taken me longer. It might have been harder. But independence was definitely what led me to where I am. But I also know I fought for my independence, right?
And you worked hard. Like, you had to get your scholarship. Like, this is everything that's happened, from the story that you've told me has been predicated on working your ass off.
No, I'm telling you, I was supposed to get deported because I couldn't pay my tuition in Louisiana for my uni. And this is like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but fuck it, it's been so long. But I remember.
Fuck it, we ball.
Like, I remember going to the university, like, admins and literally being like, I swear to you, I would get a 4.0 every semester. I would be an SGA, UPC. I would work my ass off. Like, please give me a scholarship in any capacity. Like, help me. I can't go back to Nigeria. This is my story. This is why I'm here. Like, I can't go back. And I don't know why. I don't know what I don't know what was in the air at that time, but they said, okay. And that was the only reason I finished school, was because I got a fully funded scholarship from my university to do that. And that was because they saw my track record. They were like, girl, I was a resident assistant. I was head of the UPC program council. I was an SGA. I was literally always helping professors out. I was doing everything I could to just survive in school. I was doing hair. I was cooking. I was everything. I don't even think I knew what sleep was. Like, the running joke with all my friends were like, oh, you would always see Sophie somewhere. Like, I was always on the move, running to the next thing. And it's so funny because one of my friends would say this, that when I was in uni, every time she was walking with me, everyone would be like, oh my God, hi Sophie, hi Sophie, hi Sophie, hi Sophie. And it was never because they were all friends with me. It was more so like they wanted something from me to grab myself, because I was always working with different people. And now to be the Odditty and social media and people coming to say hi for a different reason based on all the work I'm doing now, is such full circle for her to even see. And I think that to me is like, okay, growth, like all that hard work is paid off in a way. Like the things that I didn't think were even remotely achievable are now achievable. So yeah. It's such a good conversation. Oh my God.
Work hard.
Yeah.
Work really fucking hard.
Really fucking hard.
Really, really hard.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know what's around the corner. No. Like, there is as fucked as it is, there is a scenario where you didn't work as hard and you were stuck in Nigeria and your life is completely different.
Yes.
And that's scary.
Terrifying.
That is terrifying.
Yeah, no. I can't imagine it.
Yeah.
I think I was
that
meant
is
to
terrifying.
be here.
So like, anyone listening to this, even if you don't know what the outcome's going to be, just by the effort, putting the effort in, just gets you so much further.
So much.
Because people give you like if they know that you're going to try your absolute hardest and you really, really care, people will give you the benefit of the doubt so much more than if they think that you're like coasting.
Also just thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
Like questioning. I think for too many of us, when people could be like, well, I work hard, I'm trying hard. I'm like, you might just be thinking linear.
Yeah.
Like the world now is so vast and so open. Whatever dream you have, it's a reality somewhere.
Can be, yeah.
Like there is a version of you that exists with that dream achieved.
Well,
figure it out. Like you got that.
We're actually the top 200th business podcast in Lithuania.
Let's fucking go. See? That's crazy. Random.
I know.
Like Lithuania?
I don't even know.
Huh?
I just signed up to this thing like to track rankings.
Yeah.
And and then we got an email back and I was like, oh,
Let's
Joe,
get it.
look at this. We're charting, boy.
Lithuania is so random.
So
I
funny.
love that. That was like we're
gonna do a Lithuanian tour.
No, you better go. There's a whole
fan
tour
base.
in Lithuania. That's cool. But you see, like there's always perspective on things, right? Like there's always like if you're thinking I'm not doing well enough, I promise you are. Like I promise you're exactly where you need to be in that moment. Just keep going. Like if you've gotten to that point where you're like, this is it for me, this is the end, I can't try any longer. There's always more. There's always more to do. If you have life, then there's always more to do no matter what. And I think I see that and I remind myself of that every day. Like I wake up and I'm like, I can't not stop. Like I have to keep going. Like I have to make sure those dreams that I really want are reality. I have my vision board on my phone, so when I wake up in the morning, I see it. I have my notes that are telling me what to do. I have my friends in my ear like, girl, remember you said you were going to do this. Like, and I'm doing it. And I think it really, truly changes you when you're able to do that.
I want to see the vision board on the phone. What?
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Here you go. That's my little...
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's like very...
Yeah, because I've had one when I was... Put your phone away.
4 for 4.
Hey,
That's what I say, make a wish.
Put your phone away.
So bad. Like literally, it's so bad. Like the moment I pick up my phone, I'm like, text messages, emails, I'm like, refresh.
Nah.
It's so bad. I don't know. I'm never unplugged, but that's why I'm like, when I unplug, I'm unplugged. Like you would not hear. We were like, I disappeared for like a whole week and people were like, oh, you're still posting? No, my assistant is. I am like, nah. I'm out, yeah. I am not on my phone. I am refusing to engage. I am relaxing. Yeah.
I like that. I'm going to do that because I haven't
Let's do it together.
Yeah, sounds good.
No, I'm serious. Like I literally throw vision board parties and we just like sit. I'm serious.
Let's do it.
And I just like, I want like-minded creators to come and like speak out and say exactly what you need. Like me and a friend did this together and now we're literally cleaning off our boards together. And like he's like been achieving his stuff. I'm so down for that. And it like helps because then if I really need something to achieve and like I know like I can help him, it's vice versa. We're actually like all helping each other because it should never be a solo journey. Yeah.
The vision board I did do was just on like a chalkboard in my room.
Yeah.
And I haven't updated it in probably like 4 years.
Right, no, we gotta do it. You gotta do it before December and then you gotta refresh it at the end of January. That's how I do mine. Okay. So like mid-December is when you're doing it before the holidays. You're gonna look at the year before and you're gonna look at everything that's happened up to now. You're gonna look like properly, like assess everything from where you are, how you started, how you ended, and then you're gonna write down what you want. And you're gonna do a brain dump of every single thing you want to achieve, no matter how big and how small. And then you're going to create graphics, designs, everything, stick it on a Canva or whatever you use to design and put that on your phone. I have that on my laptop, my desktop screen, everything. Like whatever I can see it every morning, I do. And then at the end of January, I look at it and I say, okay, January started. Was it a good start? Was it a bad start? Let's adjust some goals because it's okay to adjust goals as you go. And I adjust it and then that vision board stays with me for the rest. Yeah.
That's great. That was great. It's been a while, but I think the core of it, it's actually kind of funny because I was packing down all my shit in my house before I came to America and I was looking at my like vision board and it's like, it's cars, it's some nice houses, but very specific things. Mm-hmm. It's like enough money. It's like a family. Yeah. It's very basic.
Yeah, no.
But
go ahead.
But the, then the penny dropped that I can have all of those things in New York. Like I can have the beautiful apartment overlooking the city. I can have the mountain house. I can have the beach house. I can have like all the money I could ever want. I could have a family with 4 kids. I can have 2 dogs. I can have all these things. And I'm like, oh wait, this is one of the few places in the world where I could get all of this.
Yeah, you also really love New York.
I fucking love New York. That's crazy.
You love it. I love it here too.
So good.
And I know that's why we bonded too, because I love New York. It's different.
So that's when you came into my apartment and you're like, yo, look at this balcony. But it's not a balcony, it's a fucking fire escape.
I was so excited to see Adam's fire escape. I'm not kidding. Like, I climbed up there. I was like, in New York. I was like happy. It was a fun day.
It's so funny. Yeah. It's so funny. Look, I'm conscious of time, so I want to jump into like a few little rapid fires. Well, not rapid fires, but like some more philosophical stuff before we finish up. Also, I was hoping to get into a bunch of like specific content creation stuff, which we didn't do.
We don't know.
So
we talked a lot about live stuff.
We should do a part 2 on just like the bangers of content creation.
Yes, I would love that.
Yeah, let's do that. I did a podcast with a guy called Scott Clary. He's got you know Scott? Yeah, and we did a part 1 where we just talked about stuff. Yeah. And then we just filmed, which will probably come out after this episode. Yeah. It's like a 2.5 hour deep dive into the podcast business. Ooh, so we literally talk about like the why, how, techniques, how to get guests, how to structure.
We should do a part 2 because
we could talk about content. We can talk about
because I talk to everybody about content, and I would love to do something and then just refer them to this podcast.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll write that down.
Yay!
Nice. So, going into the general philosophical stuff, what view do you have that makes most people either scratch their head or get angry?
What view do I have?
Yeah.
Oh, well, honestly, are we thinking controversial?
Probably. I mean, if they're scratching their head or being angry, it's controversial.
Fuck.
You don't have to answer.
Okay. Yes. No. Let's see. I think salad is for goats and goats alone. I think it's fucking crazy,
dude. That's gonna be that's gonna be at the front of the trailer.
I think salads are for goats. Okay, humans, goats. They have no taste, no flavor. Fuck the vinaigrette. Fuck the balsamic vinegar. Makes no sense to me.
So funny. All right, damn.
Coming out strong. Let's go.
And what's the biggest thing over the last 2 years that you've changed your mind on?
Ooh, that I've changed my mind on.
Living, by the sounds of it, you were fucking dark.
Yeah, I running.
Yeah,
running. Y'all, if you were told, I wish I recorded the first day I ran. Like the first time I actually ran.
Like, fuck this.
I'm telling you, I could not run a minute. A minute is a stretch. Like I couldn't run 30 seconds without like my chest constricting, my tummy hurting, my feet hurting. I felt like, okay, I did Pilates, I did solid core. Cardio was just not my thing. And now I'm about to run a 26-mile marathon. And I just ran 11 miles and I was like laughing the entire time.
Yeah.
Who the fudge am I right now?
Yeah.
The fact that I'm doing this and my body is responding the way it is to something so different is crazy to me. So I think that has been like my biggest change so far.
The running, I was never a runner either. I think I told you this story, but like,
yeah, you did.
Yeah, I read a book called Born to Run that kind of shifted my thinking on it. And it talked about like in the savannah, we weren't sprinters. We were like, as humans to capture our prey, they would like run in packs and chase after like a deer, and the deer would sprint and then stop, and we'd just be jogging, and then they'd sprint and stop. And the way that like, we would hunt in like the packs in savannah would be just like long distance running until the animal
got tired
and died of exhaustion. And that was how they hunted. Yeah. So then the next premise of the book was that like every single human has an innate ability to long distance run. Yeah. You just have to tap into that again.
I want to do the Leadville 100.
Oh,
I know. I saw my favorite YouTubers, Kara and Nate, do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to do that too. Now, this might be like 35-year-old Sophie gonna do it, because I like to say I want to always be my best physical. I want to be in the best physical shape ever. Like my dad died of prostate cancer. My grandma had, I think, brain cancer.
Oh shit.
Like, yeah, I'm like, fuck that. Like, I want to, at least for me, I want to be in the best physical shape. And not to call out anyone, but I know like a ton of people, as we grow up, you tend to let yourself just like, you know, exist, and you're too tired, chase after kids, whatever that is.
Yeah.
I don't want that for myself. So I'm giving myself like big goals. My goal for 30 was to run a marathon, because in my head I thought I couldn't get that far so quick, and then it literally just happened. And I was like, oh well, you're running it this year then. I'm okay, well, I don't have to wait for 30. So now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do a triathlon at 30 instead. I'm gonna learn how to swim for the next year and a half, and then
you don't know how to swim?
I can swim, I can't float.
Okay.
Yeah.
What?
So
you just gotta do the little
like I can like swim from point A to, because I riding a bike, swimming, and driving. And I was never I was never taught how to do any of those things. I just watched people. So I watched people swim and I just mimicked them. So I didn't actually learn from a swimming instructor. So I could do laps in a pool, but I can't like do strokes or butterflies. Yeah, I go down. I almost drowned this year, Adam. You're laughing, but I'm dead ass. I'm gonna show you the video. Crazy. I almost drowned this year. Like I was on a brand trip. The brand trip I went on. I was on a brand trip, and them girls were like, "Oh, we should jump." And I said, "I'm the only black girl here. I gotta do it. I gotta do it for my people."
And then I
just jumped in, and I thought, like any normal fucking people, that we're all just gonna swim right back. Like we're not gonna sit in the fucking ocean and take photos. But no, huddle. They want to huddle together in the ocean. They're all kicking. They're like threading water. I didn't know we call it thread water.
Treading water, yeah.
Nobody asked me to do
treading.
Okay, see,
Not
I didn't
threading.
know that. See, I didn't know that. You look at that. I didn't know that. So I'm over there drowning, but I can't look crazy. So I didn't call for help. I chose to die, then call for help. You should see the video. It's me like submerged in the water, kicking, trying to survive. Everybody's taking photos. And
it's like that meme of like the little girl. Like,
Sophie did not yell for help. I had to yank someone's ponytail because I just had to survive. And they dragged me out of the water. Like they had to get a lifeboat to come pick me up. It was so bad. So we're gonna learn how to swim now.
I could just see you crazy. Just be like, oh, we're going in, and you're just like doing laps like this. It was
so bad.
And they're like, why are you doing that? Because I didn't have to stop. I can't
You gotta give me a wall.
I can't stop.
Give me a wall and I will kick water and I can go from that wall to the other wall. I can't stay in the middle. Damn. It's so bad. But yeah, that's the one I'm gonna try to learn how to do.
I'm sorry for laughing, but that's so funny.
I'm gonna show you're gonna laugh at the video itself, because you could generally not see. Like, I'm
did
over drowning and everybody's here.
I
did. It has like 10 million views. Like, people have laughed at my pain. They've written think pieces in the comments about how my dumbass should have just yelled. They just were like, girl, what are you doing in the water? I'm like, don't tell me what to do.
Let me live my life.
I didn't think it through. I tried. See, I tried to swim.
Yeah, try, but try not to drown.
Oh my God.
That's so funny. Well, just it's this.
Yeah.
All it is like
okay,
this.
Adam,
The little,
all right. Okay. Whatever.
And you just kick your feet. And you just do this.
I can't
that's
tread. How did you say that? Tread. I can't tread water. There we go.
Next question.
Okay.
What's the kindest thing anyone's ever done for you?
What is the kindest thing anyone has ever? Wipe my butt.
Recently, or
when I was sick. When I was sick, I had a friend who stayed with me for like a week, I think, and I couldn't get up, I couldn't move and everything, and we were not even that close. She was like, we had just like sort of started building a friendship. She cooked for me, cleaned for me. She showed me such care that I'd never gotten before, and that was also one of the biggest eye openers, because I was like, oh, this is someone who I didn't even know I could trust, who like did so much for me. So I would always have that. Like I would never forget that in my life. Like I could not wipe my own butt. Damn. And she did not look at me differently. She never asked for anything like that, not much. And it was just, it was special. I appreciate that from her.
So what did that experience teach you, and how are you applying that to your life now?
It taught me to be open and closed off at the same time. I think it taught me to accept help. Like I don't think I ever knew what it was to accept help, but it also taught me that I had something to offer and I was okay. Like I had to learn or know my worth, essentially, right? Like at the end of the day, like the friends who would who didn't show up for me at that point were still all going to come back, and I would have to make the decision whether or not to maintain the friendships with them. And old Sophie would have said, oh yeah, it's fine, whatever, like it didn't matter, they were busy. Now I'm like, fudge no, like you left me when I really needed you the most, we don't need to be friends anymore.
Yeah.
And so those were tough conversations I had to have with people, and they were like actually shocked, like, oh wait, you don't want to be friends with me anymore. I had people who generally thought an apology would ever be enough for the things they did to me, and I'm like, you could apologize from now till tomorrow, we can't be friends, and we can't go back there, you can't take advantage of me anymore. And so knowing that self-worth honestly has changed everything. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're almost done, so one of the last few questions.
Oh my god, we've like talked a lot. I love this. I can't wait to listen to this. Oh my god, my voice in a podcast.
It's a good voice. It sounds good. I can hear it.
I know. I'm really proud of her.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Thank you.
Little Sophie would be proud.
She will.
She would. Yeah. So if you could only recommend one book, podcast, experience, or something for somebody to read or do where it's only one thing they can do in their lifetime to have the most impact on their life, what would it be?
Okay. I'm so mad at myself right now for this book because I hate the book, but it's so good. Do you know what book I'm talking about? If I say, you're going to be like, oh yeah. Atomic Habits.
Oh, Atomic Habits. Yeah, that's no, it's not as basic white girl as the Alchemist. The Alchemist
good. I feel like Atomic Habits for me.
Nah, it's good.
Okay, then yes. I only say I don't like Atomic Habits because for someone like me who thinks she knows it all, I hate when someone is telling me things I know I should be doing.
And you're not doing.
Yeah. So it felt like when I was reading it, I felt annoyed at myself for reading it, knowing fully well this made sense. Like it was like, oh, to build habits, you actually have to put things in place to make the habits easier. And I'm like, no shit. But also, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that book, when I read it, definitely changed my life because it helped me put things in perspective a lot. So for literally, if you ever wanted to start anything, Atomic Habits.
I've not read it.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I feel like you already sort of do most of those things anyways.
I don't know. I figured the concept. It's there. I will read it at some point. Right now I'm reading the most like random ass shit.
You should.
Like I'm literally reading about how like a form of a certain type of water can like minimize tumors in cancer. Like random shit.
And I'm reading. Let me show you. Hold on. Because you said that? I need you to say what you said you're reading right now.
It's called Defeat Cancer, the Deuterium Depletion.
And I'm reading Until You Off Limits, a romance novel.
We are not the same.
And that is what I am reading, and that is what excites me right now. I love me some smut.
My life is just smut.
You could do two different. You could have two different trajectories in life, and it all comes to the same conclusion. Because way to make me feel dumb. Like, damn, I'm really just over here reading smut. But that's all I read.
So you're crushing. Don't even worry about it.
Me and smut, we go hand in hand.
Yeah, I have all the smut in my like day-to-day life, so I don't need it in
period. See?
In a book.
Oh, I don't.
I do. My shit's crazy. Sorry, whoever's listening.
Okay, so I don't. I think we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that.
Okay. All right. Anyway, moving on. If you could know the absolute truth to one question, what would it be?
What happens in the year after? What happens when we're dead? Yeah, I want to know so bad. Do you ever get those times where like you're in bed? It happens when I was like 12 years old. I haven't had that like existential crisis in a minute. What's going on with young Sophie, man? But like I used to like wake up in the dead of the night and just think about the universe. Like I would sit up in my bed and I'll be like, if I died today, I wonder what would happen. Like, how am I this little speck of sand on this floating rock in the world? Like, I wonder if this is real or not. Is the Bible real? Is the Quran real? Is there a God? Is religion real? Is this like a science experiment? Are we just like weirdos with limbs? Like, what the fuck?
We are weirdos. Like, we're definitely weirdos with limbs.
I'm telling you, like, if you deep it, like human nature and human beings, like we're just like vessels of blood and bone. Yeah. And like we walk and we talk and we have thoughts and emotion. And no one can tell you how. They can tell you by saying like, oh, you should just follow Adam and Eve, or you should just follow the Bang Bang or the dinosaurs. What the fuck? I'm like, no. What if so that would be a question for me. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think the answer is?
I don't know. I can't even go down that road. I don't know. I can't. I really don't know. And I never want to. I just want to exist in the now. because I think I would go crazy because there's nothing. I think the world only is the way it is because of belief systems that we've all put in place. Like we just had to grapple with something. Like I fasted for Ramadan this past Ramadan, and the change in my ability to do things was so different, so latent, because I had an innate belief that everything was good because God was there for me. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
It was such like a weird mind fuck. And as someone who's like, I'm not a practicing Muslim right now, sorry mommy, but like I'm not
You're
also
like a
an
light
atheist.
version. Yeah.
I'm like, I understand the principles and Islam, and I would always still be with a part of that religion. But I remember during Ramadan itself, I just dove right in. I was like, I'm going to pray 5 times a day. I'm going to ask for God for this. I'm going to believe. And the difference in the movements I made, the audacity I had, just based on the fact that I believed in something other than myself for a moment, was insane. And I don't understand it. Now, I understand like the push, or when people talk about religion in that way, I'm like, I understand why, you know what I mean? Because if you didn't, like right now, if I'm like, I really want to be the female Kevin Hart, right? I want to be at that level of success in my career at some point, but I have no way of knowing how I can get there. But I'm like, because I have God on my side, I know it's going to happen. There's a different there's a different way I would move, right? And there's also people like that are psychos or like, you know, crazy people like Kanye, who's like, I am God, I'm the best thing that ever happened to the world, and da 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 da. Having that also like audacity, that belief, that delulu, right?
Yeah, the delulu.
Like you just have to believe in something so much that it becomes a reality, and that's what pushes you. And I think that's what humanity is. That's why I say people need to try, because once you try, you're gonna start believing that that's a reality, and it's just gonna feel like it's happening. So that's what I just do. Yeah.
Have you heard of Joe Dispenza?
No, what is that?
Yeah, I think I haven't done any of his stuff, but I think he talks a lot about visualization and meditation through like deep visualization and how it completely
That's
changes.
where I got into vision boarding and manifestation. Yeah.
These things, this deep belief and faith in either yourself or something more than you to change your decision making. From what he speaks about on reading loose content. There are a bunch of books he's got, like, and he does courses and stuff. And one of my friends said that it was one of the most impactful things I've ever done. And it changes your physical state.
It does.
It literally changes it. And there's all these, you know, studies around what's the thing called when people have like a sugar pill, but
placebo effect?
Yeah, I always forget that word for some reason.
They're so proud of me for remembering that right now.
The placebo effect has such a high threshold of impact in studies that, like, I read somewhere that studies need to be like 30 or 40% change in outcomes just to get over the placebo.
Yeah.
So the idea that your thoughts don't massively impact your outcomes are crazy. And I'm getting better slowly, but I view the world a lot in a negative lens, like what could go wrong? And it's hard to sit here and be like, I'm going to be a fucking top 10 podcaster in the world. It's like, I feel like a fraud.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Imposter syndrome. It's huge. And that's what I suffered from for a really long time. Again, like Sofi, Odditty is talking to you on the phone, talking to you through your phones right now, wherever you're listening to this. She's a product of fuck it.
Yeah.
What if I just thought differently? Literally. Like, what if, oh my God, I shouldn't really start a podcast. There's already too many voices in there. They need to hear my voice. What the have they met me? I'm the best podcaster in the fucking world. My voice is the one that should be the loudest even. Why are they different?
They're not.
What if that mindset shift happened and then I started pushing through? That's the only reason. Like my friends tell you all the time, like, and Sofi says she's doing something, I'm gonna do it. If I'm not doing it, I will never bring it up, because the moment I speak it out loud, it has to happen. I literally started telling myself now, and this is the first time I'm actually saying it in public when it's not within my friend group, I want to be the next female Kevin Hart. Not Kevin the comic, Kevin the businessman. Like the way he's able to morph between comedy, acting, movies, TV show as the personality. I want that for myself. I don't know how I'm going to start. I don't know where I'm going to get to, because Kevin was born and raised here. Like he's, you know, I mean, like there's so many differences, of course, from what Kevin Hart is and what the Odditty is, but that's my goal. And I started saying, I got to start that. So I started doing this and doing that and creating this, and I'm researching. And now I can feel like I can accomplish that. But if I had never said it, I would have been like, oh, I don't know what. We'd be like, oh, what do you want to do when you grow up? Or like, what are you gonna do after this? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know how I'm here. Like social media, Instagram, it's not gonna go tomorrow. Now I'm like, even if it goes tomorrow, I'm gonna have 50 different plans because I'm special and I deserve to be here and da 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 da. So I'm speaking everything I want for myself out loud because it's going to happen.
So what do you say to people that like hear you say that and get an instant response of like, who the fuck are they?
Watch me.
No. I don't mean that in like a negative way. I mean that like in a way of like that response has less to do with you and more to do with the fact that they feel that they can't have that audacity.
Yeah.
So what would you say to help them out of that like negative frame of mind?
Honestly, you can't always help everyone. I also want to accept that, right? You can't help everyone and you can't convince everyone of what their reality is, right? You just can't. But I will say, like, if there is ever an opening where they're like, oh, I might want to listen, I ask them to think differently every time. Like if I ever said a dream, if you ever told me a dream and my response was like, are you sure? I think you should ask yourself why you thought I couldn't rather than why you didn't immediately think I could, right? And then that's always on you to reshape your thinking. For example, with my podcast, I wanted to do an outdoor podcast. I did not want a studio. Remember I told you about it. I did not want a studio. I wanted outdoor. And everyone was like, why? Why did you want an outdoor podcast? It makes no sense. Everyone's doing it. I was like, because I'm loud and I hate being in an enclosed space. Like it's not my thing. But if I'm going to do this, I want to do it fun and in my way. And I got so many no's. I got so many, maybe do it inside. Maybe this is better. And I was like, I want to do. Why is your immediate response? That's stupid. That's weird because that's not the norm. So I think at the end of the day, like having people think differently and pushing that thought back on them. Like, hey, what if we thought differently about that? What if you responded in a way that was a lot more positive for me and you rather than a negative way, and see how that reshapes our thinking? And oftentimes when I do that, they always find a way to come back around to what I want, and it always ends up working out. So yeah. It's
good. You have a good beat on what you need to do.
I do. I'm very stubborn again. Bring it all back to the beginning. Yeah. Very stubborn.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a good way to round it out. Is there anything you're excited about that you want to let the listeners in on?
Launching a podcast. I feel like we talked about it. I've launched a podcast. Oh my God. By the time you guys hear this, Am I Too Loud? The podcast with the Odditty is out. It's going to be an in-depth look into like pop culture, my life untold, really, 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 really vulnerable, authentic stories. I think this is the first time I've ever spoken so authentically ever on any platform at all. So thanks, Adam, for like giving me this opportunity to do so. No worries. And if y'all want to hear me yap some more, then feel free to go on the podcast. It's still growing, but I'm really excited about that. But also, I think over the next couple of months, if you follow my socials, THE_ODDITTY, and there's no underscore in anything else. Snapchat, YouTube, everywhere else. I'm going to be creating shows, having fun online, and chasing the dream of becoming the next female Kevin Hart. So stick with me and we'll see.
And the last question is, what is the meaning of life?
Oh, the meaning of life. Oh my God, that's so deep. The meaning of life. I don't know. I don't know if this is like a proper answer to that, but the only thing I thought of was like that it's meant to be lived. Meant to be experienced, maybe? Okay, well.
I mean, there's no wrong answer to this.
Yeah, I think life is meant to be experienced and to be lived. And so if you are alive, that means you're living. And with that means you need to take on experiences. I think when you grow up as a baby, your entire world is shaped by any experience you make. So if you're a child and you hurt yourself by falling down, maybe you're going to take 50 more tries before you like try to stand up again, right? If you're an adult and you're in college and you didn't really like this degree, you try another thing, those are experiences that you're gathering on. I think a full life is all of those experiences. So at the end of the day, if you're listening to this and you've always felt like you couldn't leave that bubble, you couldn't leave that thing, then you're not really living. You're not really enjoying life, right? Because again, like I said earlier, you only get one try. We only all get this try. Unless there's something else going on. Yeah, unless there's like something else and like we all are reincarnated and then all of that story happens. But for the most part, we know that you only live once. So I think life is meant to be lived and experienced. And so that's, I think, what my meaning of life would be.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sophie.
Thanks, Anna. This is fun. Oh my God. Thanks you guys for having me.
Of course. And if anyone's made it this far, please, if you haven't, subscribe.
Absolutely.
Give the podcast a
my
rating.
God. Can I say that? Oh my God, guys, please subscribe. If you're listening to this, please subscribe to That One Time Podcast with Anna Metwally. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple.
Everywhere.
everywhere, and also on Instagram. Shout out to Adam for inviting me on this incredible podcast, and we can't wait to be top 100 or in top top 1 of
in
100. No, we can't wait to be top 1 out of 100 in the United States, coming real soon.
Nice.
Bye.
Bye bye.